Hello, hello. My name is Mika Leah, and I am the CEO and founder of Goomi Group. And I am just so excited and delighted to welcome you to the second edition of the Wellness Exchange. For those of you new to our community, Goomi Group partners with HR leaders and wellness providers to create workplace wellness programs that actually work. We have seen firsthand how the right wellness initiatives can transform company culture, boost employee engagement, and yes, even impact your bottom line. That is exactly why we created the Wellness Exchange to bring you monthly conversations with experts who understand the unique challenges you face in building and sustaining effective wellness programs. February is Heart Month, as we all know, and as someone with a personal connection to heart health, I couldn't be more thrilled to introduce today's guest. Joining us is Maria Guerra from the American Heart Association, a powerhouse in heart health space, who's been featured in everything from CNN to Better Homes and Gardens. Maria is here to share practical strategies you can use to create heart healthy workplace cultures that work for everyone, whether your teams are in office, remote, or a hybrid of the two. We will explore cost-effective solutions that you can start rolling out right away to support your employees' cardiovascular health. So let's dive in and discover how we can help our organization's hearts beat stronger. With that, welcome, Maria. I know we had a little pre-chat, but
Yeah,
welcome.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for making a point of kind of sticking up for Heart Month and really showcasing because that's our Super Bowl month, you know. So we're happy to be here.
Well, and I appreciate you taking the time out of Super Bowl month to come and join us. As I said, it's really important to me. And for those of you that don't know on this call, I had been an athlete all of my life. I loved fitness and wellness. I was a cycle instructor and a yoga instructor before work and on the weekends. And then, long story really short, is I found myself in emergency heart surgery. So, five heart stents and one, you are lucky to be alive later. I founded Goomi Group to bring health and wellness into the workplace so that we can transform workplace stress into success. So that is why we are here today. So, Maria, I want to kick it off by asking you when we were talking about all the fun things and that even a little dance, getting up and dance, getting up and movement, that little movement really does help. So I'd love to start off with asking you, what are some engaging heart health activities and challenges that work well for both in office and the remote teams?
Yeah, I think I'll lead with the challenge and then maybe the solution to that
Okay.
challenge or some possible solutions. So I think a big part of whether you're working in office or at home is stress, right? And so I think taking kind of these mental breaks throughout the day and having an environment around you that will promote that so that kind of pull you out of the stress. I don't care how cool your job is, it's going to be stressful at some point because we have deadlines, we have things to do. There's never enough time in the day to get them done. And so we want to make sure we set timers on our phones. We create an environment in the workplace that's conducive to taking these little breaks, to take some
Mm-hmm.
deep breaths, having windows with scenery, and just little areas where people can just go to take a deep breath, get some fresh air. And I think Gumi provides like these little breaks too, where you can kind of go online and do that. So I love that about your group. Definitely utilizing that. Another one I think is lack of mobility. And man, I work for the American Heart Association and I'm a fitness professional, and this happens to me. So I get it. You get stuck on your computer. You're like, okay, I'm gonna get up as soon as I send off this email, but then a phone call came in, and then another meeting came in, and then another email came in, and before you know it, 6 hours went by, and I didn't stand up. And man, those hours go by quick. And one of the things that you and I talked about, Mika, was sitting is the new smoking. Like really, like it's so detrimental to our health. And so again, I have a timer on my Apple Watch that makes me get up every hour. So if I haven't gotten up in an hour, it says, time to stand up. I also, if you see me bouncing, I also sit on a stability ball to get myself just still moving, trying to engage my core to keep my balance. And then I kind of keep my water bottle away, so I have to get up to go get it and drink some water and then come back to my. So it forces me to stand up. So mobility, just having, and then in the workplace, if you guys can provide that space for people to get up and move, and having those, I love these new open space concepts,
Hmm.
right? So that's a big one too. And then I think promoting wellness, healthy eating, right? So I know that's hard. I know it can be a little difficult, but anything worth doing is. And so maybe if you have an office area that has like a little kitchenette or something, maybe swapping out the synthetic granola bars that are supposed to be healthy and maybe providing, some trail mixes, some fruits, apples and bananas, and maybe, water instead of soda or even carbonated water, just easy swaps that just maybe eliminate the option of eating unhealthy. And to your point, Mika, you're actually going to affect your bottom line because if you have healthier employees, you're going to have more productive employees, right? And you're going to have less employees calling out. And if you're at home, like I am, and working remote, keep the stuff out. If it's not in your cabinets and if it's not in your fridge, you can't grab it. So just I know it's tempting. What I used to do with my kids was like when we went out, you got to have the crappy food, but at home we didn't have it. And so maybe when you go out, you can splurge a little bit, but when you're at home, make sure you're stocking up your cabinets and your fridge with healthy options to make those food choices.
Yeah, no, I love that. And, to reiterate, one of the things that Gumi Group does is one of our most popular things is to have these like afternoon stretch classes for the clients. So you just do it in a boardroom, you just invite everybody over. It could be 15 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, and it's just a little break in the afternoon. And as we were saying, that gets the body flowing and you actually go back to your desk even more productive.
100%.
Another thing that I just want to throw out for everybody listening is one of our clients does something that's easy, it's free, it doesn't cost you anything, is in their office, they have 3 minutes at 3 o'clock. And 3 minutes at 3 o'clock is 3 minutes where everybody just takes their hands off their computers and they just go quiet and they just take like 3 minutes to breathe, 3 minutes to meditate, 3 minutes to just
Yeah.
like re-regulate themselves, which is so cool. And it's company standard and it's only 3 minutes, but it's amazing
I have
when
chills all over. What a great man. That's a company that prioritizes their employees. I love that.
yeah. Yeah. And the coolest thing about it is it doesn't cost anything, right? It could be something. And I think what's great about it too is it shows the employees that the company values you. They value your time, they
Yes.
value your mental health
Yeah.
and everything about you. So I think that's really cool. All
And
right. So
anything to wait 3 minutes. The world isn't going to fall apart. If you can take that meeting in 3 minutes, you can take that call in 3 minutes. It's going to be.
exactly. And it's so funny. I did the 3 minutes the other day. I was at a work meeting, like actually at a board meeting. And the person leading the board meeting said, let's do these 3 minutes. And I remember closing my eyes and I was like, I meditate all the time. But those 3 minutes actually, I found myself at the end of the 3 minutes really breathing easier, really calm, really relaxed. And it really felt like forever. So I want to keep going because I know we've got like just a little bit of time. So I also want to talk about like, we talked about the main cardiovascular challenges facing today's workforce, which is really, the stress and the sedentary and the nutrition, which you talked about. And I shared some like practical low cost solutions that organizations can really implement right away. Do you have any that they could implement right away to promote heart health? Any other suggestions?
Yeah, I think just awareness, right? So making sure you're featuring, and every month it's like month of, right? So February is Heart Month, March we do movement, there's
Yeah.
Stroke Month, there's CPR Month. So every month, if as a company you guys can kind of disseminate that information, it's all available at heart.org. So you can go in there, grab resources. I think you guys are going to provide my information. I'm happy to provide resources. It's all turnkey. I think knowledge is key, right? So what we don't know, what we don't know. But if we can bring that to the surface and making sure that people know their numbers, they know their blood pressure, they know their cholesterol levels, and then making programs like what Gumi offers, fitness and wellness and those kind of workshops and resources is so important, because once you have that knowledge, then you can take on that responsibility. Sometimes I think
Yeah.
ignorance is bliss until you're faced with a problem. And I just heard this not too long ago in a podcast where somebody said, health issues are not a problem. And then until you have one, then it's your only problem. It's your most important problem, right? And so we think about heart disease as somebody else's issue until it becomes your issue. And then and Mika, you can speak to this. It becomes the only thing in your life until it's resolved. And so just kind of being preemptive about it, and just, don't make it an issue, right? By staying in front of it and continuing with these healthy life choices.
Yeah, and I just want to call out for those of you that don't know, it's when Maria says it's like not a problem till it becomes your problem. The stats are it will become your problem. Uh
It's
the
not if,
truth
it's when. Yeah.
It's when, and the truth is, for all of you women on here, I don't know if you know this, but like 1 in 3 women will be directly affected by some form of heart disease in their lifetime. And I think that that's really important to note, because when you think Maria and I are on here, and if you're a woman listening, you're the third, and I have heart disease. And so, like, the numbers are real. Like, these are things that people don't realize. And I always like to call out, it's not just a man's disease, and it's not just, yes, it is so important to know your numbers, but the numbers go beyond. And Maria, you could probably talk about this, but the numbers go so much further than just, BMI or even like high
Oh,
cholesterol, low cholesterol. It's everything affects our heart. It is the reason we are alive today. So, I want to share a success story, Maria, because we talked about success stories, and I think these are the tidbits that people are going to walk away with.
yeah,
So I'd love for you to share a success story of an organization that has implemented effective heart health programs.
yeah. So I was going to talk about like different companies that I know, but I thought, you know what? Let me start at home, because
Okay.
belonging to the American Heart Association, you would think that we walk the talk, but we're also busy, right? We're all working, we're doing research, we're funding grants, we're fundraising. These are very high pressure jobs, high stakes jobs. People's lives depend on the work that we're doing, and it can get very stressful. And so some of the things that we've done in house to be able to was, first of all, get that mentality. We have to set the example, right? And I say that to kind of speak to the executive leaderships in the companies that you're at, right? Those executive leaders, those corporate champions need to set the example, because people are going to do what you do and not necessarily what you say. And so one of the things that we did is we have a wellness ERG, which I really recommend in the bigger organizations, is to have that group that's going to be that advocate to push out to everybody in your different departments. And then create these doable actions. Like, we should be healthier, and then leave it at that. No, what are we going to do? I love the 3-on-3. That's perfect. But one of the things that we do is we offer yoga twice a week. And then I started teaching Tabata classes now in the morning. So that kind of just getting everybody going and stuff. And then because we're such a huge organization, we have to have these smaller groups that are pushing them out, right? And then to kind of now take it out a little bit further, there's a company here called Medtronic, which I'm maybe some of you are familiar with because they're a global organization, but they have done these groups where now, because they got involved with the Heart Walk, they had a Heart Walk team. They went out, they did a 5K, there was live music and DJs and all this stuff. And they went, that was fun. That was easy. That didn't take much. Let's do that now at work. And so now during their lunch breaks, they get groups out and they go out and they do these walks around campus. And they're like even more engaged with the Heart Walk. They're super excited because they saw how it kind of changed their corporate culture to do something so simple, which is to have your lunch and then go out for a walk. And then, man, did it change their whole just flow and energy. And let me tell you one more thing. Not only did it change their physical well-being, but relationships, their communication abilities, all of that started changing because they got outdoors, they were moving their body, and it really changed everything else that's connected. To your point, Mika, everything comes from the heart, right? And so when you're doing good things for your heart, it kind of expands to all the different levels of your life.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. So a couple of things that you brought up that I would love to share my examples with is one with leadership. I think it's so important to get leadership on board. So what we recommend, and again, it doesn't cost you anything, but when our clients are hosting Gumi, let's say they're doing educational seminars and they're doing a monthly educational seminar, and there's a different theme every month. Maybe one is breast cancer, one is sleep, one is mental health. We've encouraged our clients to actually invite their leadership to quote unquote sponsor these educational seminars where it takes just 2 to 3 minutes of this leader's time to come in and share a personal story. So maybe it's a personal story around sleep for the sleep presentation, and maybe it's another leader's personal story around mental health and why it's important to them. And what we have seen huge success in is actually getting those leaders to give their personal story on why this topic. And from it is a walking the talk kind of thing where the leaders are involved. They can see they're involved. The employees actually see that they're involved. So they're more encouraged to get involved. One, because they want to, attend anything their boss wants to attend, right? And it's great for them. And it shows, again, it goes back to that building a heart healthy culture. It's showing that the company cares from the heart and also cares about the health and the wellness of the employees. So I think that that's one really great thing that, again, people listening can take and do right away is ask those leaders to get involved, ask them to choose which topic is of interest, what piece are they most passionate about. And we saw at Saatchi and Saatchi, the CEO is super passionate about the American Heart Association because he had a personal story. And anytime that they sponsored something with Goomi Group and it was related to heart health, he was like, this is important and this is why. And building a wellness community inside, like an ERG, might have a women's ERG or neurodiverse ERG or an AAPI, whatever the ERG is, creating that wellness employee resource group actually takes the burden off of the HR person because we all know HR has enough on their plate. But having that wellness group allows them to kind of do and volunteer and kind of build that doesn't, it's a lot lighter lift for the people in charge. And they're going to be people that are passionate about it. So having that, I think, is going to be really important.
I'd love to add one more thing because I want to encourage everybody on here today to maybe take that initiative, right? And it's confession time. I'm gonna confess something that stays here. One of the reasons I teach fitness, probably the main reason I teach fitness, is because it forces me to work out because now I have an audience who's depending on me. And it forces me to live a fit life because I'm a poster child of a fit life. And it really puts me on the spot and holds me accountable and keeps me on track. So don't tell my students that stays here. Just kidding. They all know I'm super transparent. But maybe take that initiative and volunteer to lead a group, lead a moment, lead whatever it is you're passionate about, because that'll help you be a little selfish, do it for you. And then maybe all these other people that are going to follow you will also reap the benefit of this commitment that you're making to yourself.
Yeah, and to your point, I don't even think it has to be a Tabata class for all of those. Everyone
Right.
for listening. It doesn't have to be a Tabata class. It doesn't have to be a yoga class. You had mentioned earlier just a walk around the block, and a lot of our clients do that too. One of our clients, Massimo, is based out of Orange County, California, and one of the things that they encourage their employees to do is take a lunchtime break around like around the block. And that's something that anybody could lead, right? You just say, hey, I'm going for this walk. If anybody in the company wants to join me, it doesn't require any work on your part. You know how to walk, you know how to get around you know how to go around the building multiple times.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that, or even something as simple as just having a 5 minute quiet time. So inviting people into a boardroom or a quiet space where you just set a timer. Again, you don't have to be trained, you don't have to be certified. You just need to know how to set a timer and like set the timer
Right.
for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's really easy things.
Or how
And
about somebody to sponsor a healthy snack this week? Like everyone has a different week to come up with a healthy snack to bring to the office.
yeah,
You
and
know,
we've done that with like we've done cooking when we have cooking demonstrations with our clients. Well, oftentimes some of our clients will actually put a little challenge. So when we were talking about cook like challenges, a healthy challenge. How do you take this recipe and make it healthy? Or
ooh,
and it's so cool. Or who has the tastiest healthy recipe? There's little things in there that you can absolutely build out that can allow the company to come together around health and wellness for sure.
it
All
really
right.
helps morale too.
What's that?
And it really helps morale too once you
Yeah, and it does. The numbers are there and everybody can Google the numbers. It helps with productivity. It helps with mental clarity. It helps with energy, giving people like the energy to get over that like 3 o'clock slump. And it's
Mhm.
just to feel good. There's exercise does, make you feel good. It's a feel good and it's so easy to do. All right, so we have a few minutes left. So I want to ask my one big question, which is and we've talked a lot about this, but what is one simple change companies can start implementing tomorrow to create a more heart healthy culture? And I know we've given a lot of suggestions, but
Yeah, I think the biggest one is allowing space for these initiatives, right? It's just like we said, coming from the top, letting executives let their employees know we want to provide the space, and here you have authority. Let's come up with some ideas and let's implement, right? So just providing that space, and then people can say, we want a dance break, we want a walk break, we want a mental wellness, we want whatever it is, we want healthier snacks. But if they're given that space, then all those creative juices flow, and then the employees take ownership, right? Because it was their idea, they're excited about it. But it needs to come from the top. There needs to be that executive support. And then also to say, if you are part of the staff and you don't feel like you have that executive support, then start with small changes that you can make in your personal life that will influence those around you. And you'll see it trickle up. When people are trying to figure out why you're so happy all the time and why you look so great and all this stuff, people are going to want to know what you're doing. And that's how it can start to.
I love that, Maria. All right, I'm going to take 1 second and see if anybody has any questions. Do you have any questions for myself, for Maria? Any questions at all? Happy to answer them. We can take a few
Any
minutes.
issues you're having, like
Yeah.
maybe you've been wanting to do something and you're having some sort of barriers. Maybe we can help figure that out.
Or
Or
brainstorm.
ideas, things that you,
Yeah.
yeah.
You and I were saying the same thing. Just ideas. I know when you and I got talking in prep for this call, we just were talking about how, yeah, we had so many ideas and just the ideas flowing. Okay, so how can you measure the progress or success? That's a great question.
Yeah,
Maria,
I
how
bet
does
you
the
do
American Heart
a lot of
Association
ways.
measure success?
Well, the American Heart Association will always know based on the numbers that are coming in, right? And because a lot of our funding goes towards that. We do a lot of research, right? And you hear it, we're quoted all the time, according to the AHA, this and this, according to the AHA. Right now, heart disease, unfortunately, fortunately, we were doing really great pre-pandemic, and then pandemic happened and our numbers crashed. So we're back on rebuilding all of that. And it starts with awareness and then practicality, right? And so, unfortunately, more people die, and people don't know this. I think I always get gasps from the crowd, and I've been doing this for many, many years. But more people die of heart disease than all cancers combined. And I heard a podcast the other day and had nothing to do with heart health. They were talking about fear of death, and they were talking about what people ranked for fear of death, what their different fears are. And there was car accidents, airplane accidents, violence, murder, blah, blah, blah. Nowhere on their list was heart disease. And the host happened to know the number. And he says, do you know that heart disease kills more people than all of these things? And it didn't even show up on the list at all. And so I think you'll be able to measure it by seeing less people calling out from sick from work, more productivity, higher numbers in your bottom line. And that'll be due to the health and wellness of your staff and of your employees.
Yeah, 100%. We try to, at Gumi Group, we try to do it with the numbers. So we look at engagement metrics, which is huge for us to see how many people are participating. And by offering a wide variety of things, we like to think that we encourage people to participate on any level, whether it's financial wellness, mental health, nutrition, or just social health is a huge thing. And getting people to socially come together is really big. So the last question that we'll end on is how can you motivate employees to participate?
I think incentives. I'm a sucker for two things. One of them is a leaderboard. Don't threaten me with a leaderboard, Peloton. I'm talking to you. So I'm kind of competitive. So I love me a good leaderboard. And then another is incentives. At the American Heart Association, we give a wellness day off. So if you complete certain challenges, maybe we'll track sleep for 3 weeks, or we'll track water intake. And then if you complete it, you earn yourself a wellness day off. So incentives like that, lunch out with the boss, little fun incentives that again may not cost a lot, but do mean a lot, right? And so just these types of incentives and switch them up, keep them fresh.
Yeah, I think also switching up and keeping the challenges fresh too, because what we've seen is that when the challenge is fitness based, it's always the same people that participate. But when you can have a hydration challenge, you can have a meditation challenge, you can have a sleep challenge where people record their sleep and tell you, are they getting their necessary 7 to 8 hours of sleep? And one of the things that I would like to call out before we close is just encouraging people to the way that we see motivating employees to participate is encouraging that group activity. Everybody wants to do everything with friends and in groups and be social. I think it's innate in being a human that we want to be in groups. We want to be with families and communities and friends. And I think that that's a huge way to motivate employees is by bringing everybody together. So people want to come together in fun ways. So that's what we're all about. And I hope that today was really helpful for all of you on this call. I think I want thank you, Maria, for joining me for today, especially during the Super Bowl of months, which is what we talked about. I am from my heart to yours. I am
Yeah.
incredibly grateful. And with so much of these incredible insights too, you've given us such practical ways to weave heart health into all of our daily work lives. And to everyone that has joined us today, remember, small changes can make a big impact, whether it's starting with one movement break or the 3 minutes of meditation at your desk or a walk around the office or launching a company-wide wellness challenge. Every step counts. So keep an eye on your inbox for next month's wellness exchange, where we will be continue exploring ways to make workplace wellness work for you. Until then, keep moving, keep smiling, and keep prioritizing health. So thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic rest of your day. Have a good one.